sit back and relax. It's time for your daily dose of Big D Energy.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neal Ruhl, in for D-Mac. Yes.
Yo.
He is Sam Flannel.
Hey, shout out Wake Up Woodward, by the way. The new rebranded morning show. We got that back wall up there right now. Love to see it, but it's good to trace back roots every once in a while.
Absolutely. Well, here you are, Sam Flannel. Here you are. But no, that will be the play. Sam Flannel will be joining me on the D-Mac off days for the most part. So that's what we'll do. We're going back to the roots a little bit here. I promise it will be civil. As I look at the show sheet and what we're going to get to, I promise it will be civil for at least about 45 minutes.
Ooh.
Maybe.
I'm trying to...
Till you say some dumb shit, then it won't be.
Okay. Or
I can't coach both teams, though. You know what I'm saying?
Or some... maybe off the wall, very informed shit that people need to hear, but maybe don't want to hear.
Well,
it's it's all about how you brand it.
Yeah, it is, and it's all what's in your mind. But jump into that woodwardsports.com chat thread, get your thoughts in there. Tammy Chin with the good morning, Woodward family. Happy Monday. It is Monday. That is the case. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Monday's off to a good start. I want to hit you with this, Sam Flannel. And it's another step in the ever-changing evolution of getting older, and for me, it's an electric week because I got new socks. So, hey, nothing's... You guys can all laugh, but you feel the same way. There's nothing quite like a brand new pair of socks, Flannel.
No, there's not. I mean, the funny thing is it's a tale as old as time. When you're a young kid and you get socks for Christmas, you're like, what the hell is this? I want this toy. But as you get older, as your socks tend to get more wear and tear and attrition and have holes in them, having new socks, it's one of the most underrated feelings that you appreciate more than you ever thought that you would as a young person.
No, absolutely. Spencer Raxter here in the house today as well. And Spenmo, look, man, new socks, pure electricity.
Electric for sure. And I love the new socks and the new underwear are things that you can't recreate that feeling.
No, it's magic.
Yeah,
it's pure magic every single time. So it is. It's one of those things for me. And I do it. My wife and I kind of butt heads about this. She doesn't like it. I schedule the sock about a year. About a year. Yeah. I mean, total overhaul.
I'm never with that. I remember when I went to California, I bought new socks for some reason. But I bought like these Jordan and Nike socks and just ripping them out of the plastic, taking those little things out of them, the little like plastic tees that are in all of them. It's just a great feeling.
It is, but again, that's just another sign of being old. And hey, I get it. FJ 1967 with the morning Neal in chat. Good morning, FJ 1967. Happy to have you with us, Steve Wilds. I want a free agent list from now until March 12th. Go ahead and get one, Steve. You know where the internet is. You got the computer open right now. You know where the internet is. Have at it, brother. Kool-Aid is here in the house as well.
Yes, sir.
A new father again.
Yes, again, man. Hey, look, another baby Kool-Aid. I know that the cast is supposed to they're supposed to be teasing me tomorrow, but my baby girl, man, she's precious, man. Healthy.
Shout out Kool-Aid.
Hey, yeah, listen, man. Wifey, strong as hell, man.
Yeah.
Strong.
Oh, dude, yeah. They're the ones that bear the brunt of all that. Like,
yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
no
definitely,
doubt.
man. I was sitting there wondering, like, hey, can I, hold your hair back? Do you need me to
You're not needed, Kool-Aid. No, just be quiet. They just sit there and be quiet and stay out of the way. Yep. You've been through this before.
Yep.
I do just want you to remember this, Kool-Aid.
Yes,
today
sir.
is as easy as it will ever be.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will be harder. The next day will be harder. When the baby starts walking, just dot. Today is as easy as it's ever going to be. So soak it in.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely.
I'm the world's only honest parent.
And I'm listening to. Listen, it's never a bad thing to take advice from Mr. Elite himself.
No, Mr. Okay, all right, Kool-Aid, that's enough.
The president.
Salute.
That's enough. John Epping Lord. This is going to get interesting today. Neal and Flannel on what he said about D-Mac and J-Mo. Grade he gave. LOL.
What'd you say about D-Mac and J-Mo?
I mean, D-Mac was just kind of the same. More of the same.
Oh, he's doubled down.
Yeah, just double, tripled down, and the Jameson Williams stuff, I am sure it will reappear at some point during the show. As I'm looking at the show sheet, I will save that for now, and we will get to it at some point.
Yes, we will. As a matter of fact, we do have some stuff to get into the football thing. And look, I told everybody that I would get to the point where it wasn't now, and I'm noticing this around town. And even my friends, you guys know the very storied Terminal Dennis, via text message, I was like, hey, and Super Bowl is always a big deal. You know, like we always get together and do the thing. And I got the text message from him. He's like, you know, I'm just not feeling it. I'm just going to sit around the house and watch the game. But that's the sentiment I'm getting from around town. Now, it's Monday of Super Bowl week, right?
Yeah,
and look, Spenny, I know. Anytime that Spencer Raxter has a free reign to just throw back drinks, he's going to do it.
Oh, for sure.
And he's going to celebrate it.
Yeah.
And he loves it. It's your DNA. It's what you are.
Yeah.
I get that.
It's probably, I don't even know, like, I don't have a plan yet, but I'm sure all the boys are probably going to my boy Darius's house or my boy Stash's house, and we'll watch the game and have some food.
Get it in.
Yeah.
And I get that. But, Spenny, I'm not saying I won't get there, but I have to be honest. I expected to be further along than I am right now. I'm really not feeling it either. And I don't know why. Are you all the way in? Are you past it?
I mean, I'm past it.
Really? Okay.
I'm gonna, it sucks, but like, we got to move on. Next year's next year. So I'm gonna enjoy the Super Bowl. It's the highest level of football there is. It's the last game of football until August.
Until the UFL or XFL squared.
It's the last game of good football until August.
Wait a minute. That's not what I was told. Remember when we had those debates before? People were like, oh, the USFL's back. I was like, I'm not watching it. Neither are you.
No, nobody's going to watch it. Nobody's watching the UFL or any of that shit. But like I said, I'm going to watch the Super Bowl. I'm going to enjoy the Super Bowl, and I'm going to dream of us being there.
Flannel, are you into it at all? Now, I know you're a big Mahomes guy, so it's different for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of where Spenny was at, where I'm disappointed, obviously. The week after, especially the first few days after the Lions lost in the NFC Championship game, were rough. You're obviously in that depression and that despair and all of that of the what could have been. But as everybody knows, and people don't like this, but I don't care. When it comes to when it comes to football, the tiers. Number one is obviously the Lions winning the Super Bowl. Without a shadow of a doubt, I would like to see them win that every single year. But number two is the GOAT case for Patrick Mahomes. And no matter what you guys want to say, if he gets his third in 6 seasons and his third Super Bowl MVP,
he's in there.
He is.
He's in there.
Yes, he is. I mean, he's already like a top 10 quarterback of all time, in my opinion. I would say top 5. But if he gets another one, he has the trajectory to even passing Tom Brady's accomplishments someday.
And I don't want to burn that one yet, because we'll get there as the week goes on. We'll certainly get there. We'll have the Mahomes discussion because I do feel as though he's almost taken for granted now.
Sure.
I honestly believe that, because he has the it factor. Like, if it's 3rd and 16, if you're going against him, you still feel fear. That he's going to do something.
Well, and a lot of the chatter throughout the season was, this was Mahomes' worst year. There's no way that they're going to make it. I mean, they have to go through the Baltimore Ravens at Baltimore, which I thought was crazy in general, because
I said that.
people,
I'll admit it.
and that's fine. But my thought process was always Lamar Jackson is objectively terrible playoff quarterback, and Patrick Mahomes, by the numbers, is the best playoff quarterback on a per game basis of all time. And people were just kind of dismissing it as nothing, even though their defense is already really good this year. And I get it. When you have a subpar regular season, when you have some games that are very un-Mahomes-like, there might be some bit of doubt. But I think what this playoffs has proved without a shadow of a doubt is you can just never count him out. While other players like for example Lamar Jackson were doing what Lamar Jackson does in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes played mistake-free football. He did the same against Buffalo and the same against Miami. He rose above, while the other quarterbacks had some errors, I would say.
You see him firing up the engines already, Spenny.
Sure.
Already he's firing up the engines, just cracking the knuckles, stretching it out a little bit.
Hey, am I not allowed to like a superstar player or love a superstar player?
But to fellate them is something else. But
Well, as we all know, like sometimes I go maybe a little overboard in response to some of the slander and some of the talk in the chat and whatnot.
Paul Thomas, Neal, out of respect for you at the grocery store, I dragged my shopping cart from the front. Okay, well, there you go. I do like that. Nobody says I'll watch all 3 weeks of the USFL. And there's some chatter about it. Shad216 says I'll be watching the UFL. You guys always say this. You always say this. And the ratings are high week 1, and then they just dribble out. Then they're below NASCAR.
I
and then that's the way
probably
it
won't
is.
watch a minute of the USL or UFL or whatever it's called.
I probably won't either.
I just want baseball to start.
Yeah.
Wyatt Bear, though, the CFL will get me watching for a few weeks. I do tap into the
I'd watch
CFL.
the CFL before the UFL.
That's right.
Tiger Cats.
That's your squad?
That's my squad.
That's your squad.
Yeah.
All right.
Chris Fry.
See? We're deep.
He won a Grey Cup with the Tiger Cats, Spartan Dog.
I like to think we're the official CFL show of America.
That's fair.
We spend the most time on it,
Oh, for sure.
which means, like, we talk about it when it starts, and then we talk about the Grey Cup for, like 4 minutes.
Yeah,
And then we keep it pushing.
Hey.
It's part of the Get Right lineage.
it is.
Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
It
That's
is.
right.
2 seasons ago, the Grey Cup, that was a Get Right.
It's true.
We delivered 54-23. That's what it is. Juice on the box. Hey, man, I got Michigan Panthers season tickets. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
How much were those? $10?
Hey, now.
Probably.
Hey, now. Bronco 81 NASCAR is back. We'll be watching every Sunday. That's one of us.
I feel like I would do good at a NASCAR event, but I can't watch NASCAR on TV.
I agree. Like, I think Spenmo, you would do very, very well at a NASCAR event, if you know what I mean by that. No, but there is some line stuff we're going to get into. The free agency stuff, the draft stuff as well. We got to talk about it. We do. We have to talk about it. Steven Syrett in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Remember, good morning, everybody. Zach LaVine would rather have his body cut open than play for the Pistons.
That is true.
Ha. You know what, though? That could backfire on him because I think he's more easily movable now.
Yeah.
I do, for real.
Go for a lesser price.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's an esteemed man who's in the sound booth right now that put that bug in my ear when we were talking in the conference room. And I'm sure we'll get into it on tomorrow's Wake Up Woodward. But yeah, it might backfire. We might be able to not give up a haul for Zach LaVine. So, yeah.
Or really anything of all. And I would think to the point with the surgery, you could probably get the Bulls to cut, take a little chunk of that off your hands too. I think people will be, I think Bulls fans, namely, will be stunned with the return or lack of return for Zach. He's a distressed asset. This is a Neal Ruhl special.
Oh, yeah. He's a distressed asset, and the core that they have right now, I know it was designed to be played with Lonzo Ball, but even though they have talent, I mean, DeMar DeRozan is old, and Vucevic isn't what he once was, and Zach LaVine is injury-prone, and even with them all together, they're pretty much a 500 team. The Chicago Bulls are in definition of NBA purgatory.
No, they are. So we'll keep an eye on that. Kool-Aid will keep everybody posted on what's going on there. WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Spenmo, is that you? You have Southern roots?
I do, yeah. My nana's from Alabama.
My family's from Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it is.
Yeah, my nana's from Alabama, and then she had my dad in North Carolina.
Lots of talk about Spenny. Shad216, Spenny is built for NASCAR. You are built for NASCAR.
I feel like it would be a lot of fun.
Bronco 81 Spencer would, quote, rip up a NASCAR infield tailgate.
Like 2 events that I could go to that I don't want to participate in what's actually happening, but the atmosphere I would thrive in are NASCAR and faster horses.
Oh, that's the same thing.
I wouldn't go to faster horses to listen to music per se, but I'll go there to
for the activities,
to drink beer and look at white girl titties all day.
Tell them about Dispo.
Yes, visit Dispo Dispensary today for exclusive new deals and experience a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere, mixed with fresh inventory from Michigan's largest variety of products. Come through our stores or order on Dispo Dash today. New year, new deals, same plug. Dispo Dispensary, DispoShops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
All right, we're off and running here. New week of action. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal, Ruhl, and Sam Flannel. And, of course, we have Spencer Raxter. Kool-Aid in the booth as well. Warrior having kids on the weekends and back at work on Monday. He's an animal like that. He's just built different, folks.
Oh, yeah.
He's built different.
Shout out Kool-Aid for coming in, even though his wife had just had a baby, for our debut episode of Wake Up Woodward. And shout out to your wife for, encouraging it and being okay with it, too.
Yeah, she's a trooper. She was like, man, I've had 4 of these babies. Now I'm a pro.
She told
me,
is
this
true.
is my first show, so go handle business. I was like, I got you.
All right, that is pretty cool. Question about the Lions, just as we continue to, lay to rest the season as much as we don't want to. And Spenny asked the question, who was the Lions MVP this year?
Ooh.
And I think that there's a running answer. It's the NFL. Your quarterback's the MVP, period, end of story. But with all that being said, for this Lions team, who was the MVP of the season for you, Sam Flannel, other than Jamison Williams?
Okay, so will you guys allow me to make a case for
Probably not.
For one Aiden Hutchinson? And I know Aiden Hutchinson at times throughout the year was hold on now, was more talked about for what he didn't do instead of what he did. But I would argue that no player was more important to their team's pass rush this season than Aiden Hutchinson. And if you look at the way he ended the season and in the first couple games of the playoffs, he was elite, but he was damn good all season long. Let me put these numbers into context. Aiden Hutchinson had 11.5 sacks. The next closest on the team had 5. It was Ali McNeil. Tackles for loss, Aiden had 14. The next closest on the team had 7. Quarterback hits, Hutch 33. Next closest on the team 12. Forced fumbles, Aiden had 3. The next closest on the team 1. And he also, according to Pro Football Reference, not just led the Lions, but led the entire NFL in pressures and hurries.
Yeah.
Hey, I love how you're just dismissing Aiden Hutchinson right now. I don't hear you compliment him as much as you should, by the way. And by the way, this season, I would say that his bookend edge rushing help left some to be desired. Charles Harris was not good. Julian Okwara was not good.
Yes.
John Kaminsky was not good.
Yes.
James Houston was hurt.
Yes.
Bruce Irvin only played 1 game. And Romeo Okwara, the funny thing is, when you look at the numbers, he actually played pretty well. But
he always does that. Every year,
Yes.
Okwara, you're
Yes.
like, man, this guy never plays. And then he plays, and you don't really hear about it. And then when you go back, I swear to God, they make up his stats.
Well, it's. I was just about to say he played well, but in extremely a limited sample size. You see games where he plays 6 snaps, 8 snaps, 10 snaps, 12. And the reason I give Aiden Hutchinson is because of the value to the pass rush side of the defense. I think this would be the worst defense in the NFL if he wasn't on the team. And I understand that Ali McNeil had a very good season and missed some games, which probably deflated his sack totals. I understand that as the season went on, particularly starting with the Broncos game, that they brought more safety blitzes. Ife Melifonwu was big in that. Brian Branch got home a time or 2. But overall, Aiden Hutchinson just meant so much to this pass rush. And as we all agree with, I think every person in this room, this defense wasn't perfect, but it was better. It did improve. And Aiden Hutchinson is also pretty damn good against the run. And we all know that their run defense wasn't just better than last year. It was elite. They went from 4th worst in 2022 to 2nd best. I got to give some shout out to the defense and how I think they would have been the worst defense in the NFL without Aiden Hutchinson. And he did have that 2nd-year leap, even if people say that his sack numbers maybe aren't what they wanted. But he still got 11.5. He still got double digits. He's a great player. Team MVP, Aiden Hutchinson.
This kind of permeates, and I told Spenny, you got to give me marks because I saw this coming from a mile away. I told you when Flannel wasn't in the room. I thought this was going to come later on when we would address another Lions topic. But F it, we're here now.
Okay.
So let's get into it. And hey, go ahead and type it. You're being a hater, Neal. Go ahead, throw it in there. I'll wait. Okay. Now, with that being said, here's the deal, Sam Flannel. He's not the team MVP to me. The sack numbers at the end ticked up when what happened?
Yeah,
when Aaron Glenn changed the whole approach of how they get quarterback pressure, the exotic blitzes, the secondary blitzes, all of that. That's when it flipped. Because remember, they were dying in the water.
Yeah.
They were dying in the water after that Green Bay game.
And that's fair, but I would also argue that during that period where Aleem McNeil went down, kind of before they made that adjustments, even when Aleem McNeil was playing, he probably had the worst help in the entire NFL in terms of higher-end pass rushers. So, yeah, it did help Aiden Hutchinson, I think, with his sack totals, but you even look at in the game against the Los Angeles Rams, for example, Aiden Hutchinson was a man. He was in Matthew Stafford's face all game long, and he got a couple of sacks. So, to me, consistency throughout the year. I get it. The safety blitzes helped. Aleem McNeil had a good year, but when you look at who had the second most sacks on the team, who had the second most hits, nobody was consistent in their help. And I think people sometimes don't appreciate what he actually did. They just knock him for what he didn't do.
Real cream of wheat. Will Harris is the MVP. That was a great bit. I remember that bit. Andrew Schmidt. Hutch had a 0 stat line in the NFC Championship game. Come on, Sam. I'll step in on this one.
Okay.
He did knock down 2 passes, and those were very, very big plays. I get that. But here's the deal, Flannel. Here's where I am, because this bleeds over. Because Spenny had the thing, pick a line on each side of the ball who needs to take the biggest jump next season. And my answer to that kind of feeds into why I don't think that he was a, quote, MVP of the team, a team that had Jared Goff, that had Penei Sewell. Laporta, I think, could certainly get some run in this discussion as well, which is wild to think about. But here's the deal, Flannel. And I've been accused of this in the past, but here's where I am with it, man. When Aiden Hutchinson plays well, this team is elite. They are an elite team. When he does not play well, they are not. He is the most important player by far. Because here's the difference. What do we see from Nick Bosa in the NFC Championship game?
Domination.
Domination.
That's the difference between the two. There's not a huge gap between them. I'm fair. Like I can see. I expect more out of Aiden Hutchinson than you do, I guess.
Let me just respond to the whole NFC Championship game and Nick Bosa, because you look at the playoffs. Think about this, guys. Myles Garrett, by his standards, no-showed in the Texans game. Micah Parsons, by his standards, no-showed this season in the playoffs and in 2021 in the playoffs. Aaron Donald, by his standard, no-showed against the Lions. Nick Bosa, even by his standards, no-showed against the Packers in the divisional round game, and they got away with it. So But what all those guys have in common, except for Nick Bosa, who obviously made up for it in the NFC Championship game, was that Hutch had 2 excellent playoff games before that. When it comes to sacks and defensive ends, sometimes they're a little bit more random than you think. You know how I know that? Because the record all time is 22.5. It was set in a 16-game season by Michael Strahan and then tied in a 17-game season by TJ Watt. That's less than 1.5 per game. You can't expect 2-3 sacks every single game. You know why? Because if you get 2 sacks every single game, then you're the greatest defensive player in NFL history. Cut him a little bit of slack. He overall was great this season. I think he was even better than most people think that he was.
Chuck Brewer, the WoodwardSports.com chat there, brings up a good point. And Chuck, I like this discourse. I like this dialogue because it shows that you and I think, are on the same highway here together. Neal, if you're a stud, you can have no excuses, and you have to play your biggest in the biggest moments, and Hutch wasn't there. And Chuck's a noted Michigan fan, noted Hutchinson guy, and I'm not coming from a place of hate with it. He is very, very good. But when he plays at an elite level, this team is elite. And it's not hate, Flannel. I hope you can understand. I hope the Hutch people can understand. That's the difference, what he means to this team. Does he mean the most? Yeah, I think certainly you could make a case that Aiden Hutchinson means the most to this Lions team because he is that new school, that game record, the Parsons, the Bosa. Yeah. He's our version of that. He can be that at times. But you got to be that way from week 1 to week 20, man. You do. You're not going to dominate every game. Your game plan for all that kind of stuff. It's just when he is playing well. And like you talked about, that Chicago Bears game where they stormed back and he just absolutely blew up the end. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I want him to be a menace. You know what I'm saying? And there's just I'm not saying he's a bust. I'm not saying he's not good. Everybody put your swords down. I'm not doing all that. When he is playing at an elite level, this is a Super Bowl winning caliber team. They are. They just are.
Yeah, and I would respond too with you saw that in 2 whole ass playoff games. If you want to give Aiden Hutchinson the knock, Chuck Brewer, I will respond to that. Then you should probably have some questions about Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, and Aaron Donald. I'm not saying that those guys haven't done more in the regular season than Hutch, and Aaron Donald was great in a Super Bowl. I'm just saying that when it comes to defensive players, particularly defensive ends, he wasn't the only one this year who had, I would say, underwhelming playoff performances. I'm not saying that even Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons were terrible or anything, but by their standards, they no-showed. It was prevalent throughout the NFL in terms of these playoffs. If it can happen to Nick Bosa, if it can happen to Aaron Donald, certainly if it can happen to Aaron Donald, it can happen to Aiden Hutchinson. And to me, I just think that is something you have to take into account. For 2 whole playoff games, he was excellent. He was not good in the NFC Championship game. I would never try to pretend.
See, I think the heat on him is kind of unfair in the NFC Championship game because those are big plays.
Sure.
The pass deflections, and he did have 2 of them. I think one of them was on 3rd down, if memory serves.
Yeah.
Those are huge plays. Huge play. I mean, it's the exact same thing as a corner knocking down a pass.
Yeah, no, it's the exact same thing.
It's the exact same thing. So I think that is unfair. Like the criticism of him in that game is a bit unfair. They still ended up with 4 sacks or something like that in the game. I know they got like 2 of them back to back. But still, I don't have a huge problem. I know it's inconvenient when you look in the box score. And in basketball, we call that the Millionaires Club because it's one game played and then a bunch of zeros after that. It's inconvenient that the stat line was empty, but I will stop short of saying he was awful or he was a bust or he sucked or stuff like that because he made an imprint in that game.
Yeah, he made a couple of plays knocking down the ball. It's just even I, as the biggest Hutch fan probably at this network, will say that when you dig deep into the numbers, that game was far worse than the Buccaneers and Rams game in terms of his performance. And that was not something that is acceptable even to me. I'm just giving some context that sometimes you have an off day and sometimes the sacks just aren't there. But with that game, it was more than just the sacks weren't there. He just didn't play well. Like his grade against the run in that game was really bad too.
I want to continue the discussion too because I want to get to your guys' thoughts. You guys made me think a lot with some of the stuff that you said. But hey, the 49ers, Nick Bosa was a guardian for them in that game.
Oh, he most certainly was a guardian. Let me, there we go. It's a new year. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
At Planet Fitness, you can get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this?
You don't know how to use it?
This is better.
Join now through January 19th for just 24 cents down, $10 a month. Never intimidating, always free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Join today during the Big Fitness Energy Sale for 24 cents down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal extended through January 19th.
Over 50 Metro Detroit locations.
For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Company has provided Michigan's best hotels, casinos, and restaurants, the very best there is to offer in terms of prime beef, dry-aged beef, Wagyu beef. If you've eaten a good steak in this town, chances are that restaurant or casino hotel got that steak from Fairway Packing Company. Guess what? You can do the same thing. You think you're serious about grilling? I was grilling this weekend. I'll be grilling again tonight. As a matter of fact, fairwaypacking.com is the play. The best steaks, period. Stop going to the grocery store to get your steaks, everybody. There's a whole new world out there for you. And go to the Grab and Go Steak Shop in Grosse Pointe Woods. Best ribeyes I've ever made in my life. Fairway Packing Company. It's very, very simple, guys. Go to fairwaypacking.com. The very best in all the beef in the land. Keeping it pushing here. Big D Energy. We're off and running on a Monday. Sam Flannel in for D-Mac, Neal, Ruhl. New Dad Kool-Aid in the house. And, of course, Spencer Raxter as well. Big NASCAR fan.
Big NASCAR guy.
Yeah.
Another left turn.
Not a NASCAR fan, a big NASCAR guy.
NASCAR
style guy.
Environment
fan.
Yeah. NASCAR aesthetic fan.
NASCAR is a good matchup for him.
Raising hell and praising Dale, baby.
You missed your calling.
I did, honestly. I should have been a NASCAR country music fan.
WoodwardSports.com chat poll, and that's what we're talking about right now. Who is your Lions MVP for this year? 44% of the people say Jared Goff. 40% of the people say Penei Sewell. 12% of the people say other. And Aiden Hutchinson with 5% of the vote, but 100% of Sam Flannel's vote.
Mine is Penei Sewell. Mine is Penei Sewell. You look at him, he was the best offensive lineman all year. He's a first-team All-Pro. The numbers he put up, not letting up a sack for the first, 6 weeks, 7 weeks of the season, it was insane.
In the NFL?
In the NFL. The guy was a freak of nature. He set a record in the NFL for most consecutive pass blocking snaps without a sack allowed. I loved seeing what he did this year, what he grew into. He is the best offensive lineman in the NFL, and hopefully the Lions sign him to an 8-year deal and keep him in Detroit for his entire career.
Oh, yeah, $1 billion.
Yes. Whatever he wants.
Give him the Happy Gilmore check. All of it. All of it. Lots of run for Amon-Ra St. Brown as well. And you know what? Again, and I'm guilty of it, and I lead the charge for this all the time when I say Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't get the due he deserves around the National Football League and around the country. And then what did I do? The exact same thing. Because when you're talking about Lions MVP, there is a case for Amon-Ra St. Brown. But guys, this just kind of opened my eyes to it again. I know it stings, and I know it still stings for some people. And I know that we're heartbroken. But this discussion... Can you make I'm talking about like a case. You can make a case for Jared Goff. You can make a case for Penei Sewell. You can make a case for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sam was making a case for Aiden Hutchinson. Nobody even brought up Laporta, who I think is as big of a piece. If you look at today's NFL, he slots right in there with just as important of a piece as anybody else. But guys, this is why they're good now. This is why last Sunday wasn't the be-all, end-all. It wasn't. For real, it's not. Let's look at the names and the cases that you can make for all those guys that we just mentioned. And they've all been here 3 years or less. All of them. That's why this team's good. That's why this team's here to stay. There's talent. Period. End of story. They have good players. They got the good players through the draft. I don't know what to do about it either because it's new to me. But here we are. This is us.
Yeah, and you were talking about it. They had 4 All-Pros on offense. I mean, Frank Ragnow, Penei Sewell, Sam Laporta, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And that doesn't even count Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery being the best backfield in the NFL. Like, them two as a combination would certainly be first-team All-Pro. And then, of course, Jared Goff had one of his best seasons of his career. You could argue best season. And then defensively, as I said, they were better this year. They were a defense that could win you some games, help you win some games, as long as the offense continued to put out their output. And hell, even in some games, they were dominant. So yes, and that's one thing that we talked about a little bit on Wake Up Woodward. When we talk about next year, when we talk about the years after, Jared Goff will still be here. Montgomery and Gibbs will still be here. Amon-Ra St. Brown will still be here. Sam Laporta will still be here. Aiden Hutchinson, Penei Sewell, Brian Branch. All of those guys are young on their rookie contracts except for Jared Goff. And I think moving forward, this team will be actually more talented in the subsequent years. But this team is already talented. I mean, 4 All-Pros. We were talking about before the game, or 4 offensive All-Pros. We were talking about the game, all of the weapons that the 49ers have. The Lions offensively can almost match them player for player.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's weird to hear you say that.
Yeah.
It's probably weird to say it.
Yeah.
But that's how quickly it changed. See, like, that's my overriding takeaway from this season. For the people that are still bitter about last Sunday. get comfortable with this, guys. Like, they're a real organization, and they're a real team, and they have real players and everything. It's really weird. But that's how that I always looked around the league for the last, 30 years, sans about 1 or 2 seasons, and said, man, you look around and all these teams that are shitty get good like quickly. And it never happens to us. Why? But it did. Yep. And in a year and a half it happened. In a year and a half. Yeah. And then boom, we were in there.
I mean, think about this. In late October of 2022, the Lions were 1-6, and ever since then they had an 8-2 finish to that season. And then this past year they had a 17-point lead in the NFC Championship game with a chance to go to a Super Bowl. And that's the thing. This turnaround has been lightning speed. It's been faster than any of us expected. I mean, 3-13-1 in 2021,
and then 1-6,
and then 1-6, and then by 2023, a 17-point lead coming into the third quarter of the NFC Championship game, only losing the NFC Championship game by 3 at San Francisco. That's one of, certainly the greatest Lions turnaround of all time, but I can't even think of many in the entire NFL that were that, and it was all pretty much fueled by the draft. Obviously, you had some free agents like David Montgomery and Graham Glasgow were sprinkled in, but that's what happens when you got a guy like Brad Holmes who hits like 3 Grand Slam home runs in 3 consecutive drafts.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread. What do you think about this comment by Thomas Perry? St. Brown would have gotten more votes than Hutch.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree with that.
No, that's 100% fair. I mean, I you can certainly make a case for Penei, for Jared Goff, for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think you could make a case for Ragnow. You could make a case for Laporta. But I was just saying that my point with Aiden Hutchinson was more to highlight that people should appreciate him more for what he did instead of lambasting him for what he didn't do. And I know not everybody's doing it, but Hutch was pretty damn important himself. And you even said that when he plays well, it unlocks the ceiling of this team to a true Super Bowl favorite.
Yeah, I mean, but for me, again, the bottom line is it's always going to be Penei Sewell.
Sure.
It always will be, because you've heard me say this multiple times, and it gives me an opportunity to say it again. He's the one that changed everything. He's the one that changed the locker room. He's the one that changed the expectations. And more importantly, you know what he did? He shed that Lions are the bitch in the room narrative. He got rid of that. He got rid of that by going face-to-face with Bosa and Aaron Donald and then sunning them in the game, too. Like, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to do it. And he does it repeatedly. And, yeah, I see the things in here, too, the chat messages. Danny G, give him a blank check. 100%. You don't have to do it yet, because that's... You can stagger these types of things. You still got the option on him, but yeah, make no mistake, they're gonna get him set up. Yeah. They're gonna get him set up. And remember, guys, like, it takes the other guy to want to do that too.
Oh yeah.
If I were Penei Sewell, would I sign now or would I sign after next year? I would sign after next year.
Oh, yeah. And here's the thing. He's the best offensive lineman in the NFL right now. And when you look at his numbers, when you look at how he graded out, you talked about it, Spenny, about how he almost let up, 23 pressures and 1 sack or something like that. Something absurd. He was as good of a pass blocking tackle in the NFL. He actually graded out better against the run. He was the number 1 graded tackle in the entire NFL, but the number 1 graded tackle by a wide margin
because he's always 6 yards downfield.
Yeah, it's funny how
every
that
single
works.
Run play.
Because you see it with the metrics and you see it when you actually watch the game, that he's always blowing up his man and 6 yards down the field when ever there's a run play. And John McAroon, one of our esteemed guests on the show, friend of the network,
Doc.
shout out Doc. He said something on one of the shows I was on recently, and when you look into the numbers, it's actually borns itself out. Penei Sewell had one of the best tackle seasons ever.
Ever.
Like in NFL history.
Ever? Yes, yeah. Ever.
Yes. So, yes, he's 100% the best offensive lineman in the NFL. It took me a little longer than most to warm up to the idea that he's a no-doubt gold jacket guy.
Of course it did.
Hey, but I'm there now. He's the best O-lineman in football. Not tackle, O-lineman.
Bada bing, bada boom. Laporta, he completely outplayed expectations by a ton and was a key component to a bunch of our wins. And bada bing, bada boom, I can't hate on that. I can't, because you notice a theme with all these teams that were in the Final Four of the NFL, you notice a theme?
All have
at one of the
elite tight ends.
one of the positions? Like, go across the board. Baltimore may have 2 now.
Yeah.
Baltimore may have 2.
Man.
Kelsey, Kittle, Laporta. And yes, he belongs in those conversations.
Of course he does.
Because he is as good as any of those guys. He is as good. He's as important to his team as any of those guys are. Get comfortable saying that.
Yeah, he most certainly is. He probably just had the best rookie tight end season ever. It's funny. The one thing I will say, though, is it's kind of hard for me to say that. I know tight ends are different. I know that they don't usually put up the numbers that wide receivers do. I mean, evidenced out by there was only 1,000-yard receiver as a tight end, George Kittle, this year. But I don't know if I can put Sam Laporta over Amon-Ra St. Brown in terms of MVP of this team, just because Amon-Ra St. Brown had a first-team All-Pro season as a wide receiver. He had over 1,500 yards despite missing a game. And it's not a knock on Laporta. I'm just saying the ceiling of what you can accomplish as a number one, All-Pro wide receiver is more than what a tight end can do. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know if I could put him over Amon-Ra St. Brown. But that's not a knock on Laporta. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown's pretty damn good in his own right.
Well, but that's the other thing, too. This is also a factual statement. Amon-Ra St. Brown, at this point in his career, is further ahead of almost any wide receiver ever. Like this Justin Jefferson that you all love and worship, he's further along at this point in his career. Look at the numbers.
I can't
look at the
that.
numbers.
See, that's
look at the numbers, Flannel. That's what I'm talking about. The numbers. Look at them.
Well, I'll also look at the fact that Justin Jefferson had 1,000 yards and played 9 games this year. I look at the fact that in terms of the numbers, in terms of production per games played,
that's a flavor thing, though, Sam Flannel. That depends on your flavor. We've had this discussion before. Amon-Ra St. Brown gets overlooked because he doesn't catch the 60-yard deep ball. That's why. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason why. It's not that he's an inferior receiver. He is not. It's the nature of his game and the nature of what he's asked to do in the offense, and he does it as good as anybody in the National Football League. I'll back that up. Could Justin Jefferson do Amon-Ra St. Brown's role as well as Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Of course not.
Of course not. But that's what you see. That's what you see on the highlight shows. You see Justin Jefferson in the jump ball situation. That's what you see that, so you're programmed to think that. Maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're automatically conditioned to say Amon-Ra St. Brown's not as dynamic as a Justin Jefferson. But when you put it all back together, every bit of the production is there.
But I don't like this idea that when it comes to Justin Jefferson and numbers, and even if you want to include a Tyreek Hill or a Jamar Chase or somebody like that it's about being programmed. Because I don't want any Amon-Ra St. Brown love, which he rightfully deserves. I mean, he was first-team All-Pro for a reason. I don't want that to seep into any slander when it comes to Justin Jefferson or a Tyreek Hill or a Jamar Chase or, for example, an A.J. Brown or a C.D. Lamb. They're all great in their own right. I would agree with you that you can certainly say that Amon-Ra St. Brown is as good or in the room as any of those guys and as important to their team as any of those guys. To me, it's not about programmed. It's about how do you want it, what team do they play for. Obviously, we're biased when it comes to Amon-Ra St. Brown because there's so much greatness at the wide receiver position right now. So much.
Steven Syrett says Flannel only likes stats when it supports his argument. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a narrative angle with Sam Flannel. I don't think anybody would dispute that.
I mean, We'll see how this goes along. I don't want there to be any slander when it comes to I don't want us to do this thing that sometimes I don't think I'm guilty of because I feel like I'm kind of a truth teller, but some Detroit sports fans kind of get into this mindset of only good players play in Detroit. That's the whole with the Amon-Ra St. Brown and being Justin Jefferson, it's all about what you like or whatnot. Justin Jefferson, by the numbers, has had arguably the greatest start to a career any receiver's ever had. I know that he was hurt this year, but he had 1,000 yards in 9 games. That's unbelievable. What Amon-Ra St. Brown has done is unbelievable. They're all unbelievable. All of them.
It's fair.
I've never saw Amon-Ra St. Brown pouting on the sideline.
And you know what? I don't hate that, and I think that's more of a favor to Amon-Ra St. Brown as opposed to a knock on Justin Jefferson, but I don't hate that. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're never going to question if he's about the team or if he's going to work hard. That's definitely a notch in his favor.
Robert Closian, the WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Spenny, before we cut to the break, fun fact, maybe we can get Spenny into this. The 24-hour of Le Mans is the top spectator environment. All-night partying, carnivals, strippers, champagne, crepes. You can switch your viewing location 10 different places around the track.
You had me in crepes. Strippers and crepes?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm there.
Name a better duo than that.
Yeah, honestly. I recently had crepes for the first time, like earlier this year. Really good. Really good.
Now put some strippers on
with
with
strippers
that.
and crepes, yeah, it's the best of both worlds. What is the Le Mans du fromage? Is that what is it? What's it called?
Le Mans to cheese? No, that 24-hour race they do.
No,
where they just drive the cars. It's look into it. It's literally a 24-hour race. They drive for 24 hours, and I guess there's strippers in a carnival and crepes there.
I wonder what the tailgate life is like at the Tour de France. I wonder how they get down.
I went to the Tour de France once.
Was the tailgate hype?
Are
they tailgating with cheese and wine?
I happened to be in Paris.
Because I'm a wine guy, too. I like wine.
Yeah. I happened to be in Paris, and we were there for a couple days. And then I realized that the Tour de France was going on while I was there. And so I walked downstairs to the hotel, walked like a half mile down the road, and watched them go by on the last day and said, hey, I went to the Tour de France, and that was it.
Okay. I
didn't really know what was going on, but they were going fast on the bike. That's all I know.
Kyle Sved is right, though. He said I need to go to the Waste Management PGA in Arizona.
Me too.
That would be awesome.
Me too.
That would be so cool. I went to Rocket Mortgage Classic last year. That was awesome. Like I love golf.
Golf tournaments are awesome.
Yeah, I golf, so I would actually enjoy watching that too, on top of having a great time.
There you go. Hey, it's a great time to go to Big Boy to get your winter comfort foods. You guys know what it is. The veal parmesan, the Southern Comfort chicken bowl. I'm talking thick and hearty, just like Spencer's women. Thick and hearty. How about breakfast? Try the stuffed potato pancakes. They're back as well. The classic, the lumberjack, the Santa Fe garden omelets, also the apple pie hotcakes. Those are too good to miss. And top it all off with a gingerbread shake for dessert. It's Big Boy, one of Newsweek's best restaurant chains of 2023. Big Boy's back, everybody. They're Detroit institution. Get to your local Big Boy today.
Have you ever wondered where all the finest restaurants get their steaks? It's Fairway Packing Company, providing Michigan restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef for over 60 years. But now you can buy these cuts of meat for yourself at the Steak Shop by Fairway Packing Company. Prime porterhouse, A5 Japanese New York strip steak, dry aged Wagyu beef tomahawk. Delicious. Get to the Steak Shop today. Enjoy fine wine, have a private party, and get the finest cuts of meat anywhere. The Steak Shop on Mack Avenue in Grosse Pointe Woods, or order online, fairwaypacking.com.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists, and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome. You guys tired of the same old Detroit sports wearables? Hey, it's a new era in Detroit sports merchandise. That's right, woodwardsports.com/shop. Get the Stoked Not Scared t-shirt. They're in stock. They are ready to roll. Get hyped for next season. Baseball, football, basketball, hockey. They're all represented. Get those hoodies in. It's hoodie season. It's beanie season. You guys know what it is. Go to woodwardsports.com/shop. The very best in Detroit sports wearables. Keeping it pushing here, Big D Energy on a Monday. Neal, Ruhl, Sam Flannel in for D-Mac. New Dad Kool-Aid in the house. Spencer Raxter as well. All of you in the woodwardsports.com chat thread. Send it on in there. Subscribe to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel and get your thoughts in there. We read them here on this show. We read them here, unlike some of the other shows. I want you guys involved. Because, hey, if we're being honest, if you're lazy like me, sometimes you guys program the show.
Hey, how could you not? Chat's got sometimes as good of ideas as any of us, and a lot of the time better. if I'm being honest.
No, you're absolutely right. Sam Flannel, though, the new morning show debuted.
Yes. Wake Up Woodward. It was a lot of fun. It was a good vibe. We even had Terry Foster join me on the couch for the last half of the show, and Kool-Aid in the sound booth. He's there as well. Kool-Aid, how are you feeling about the Wake Up Woodward debut today?
Hey, I had fun this morning, man. It was a good way to start the day. Hopefully the chat felt the same way.
Now, if you guys are a, quote, morning show with a name like Wake Up Woodward, do you have coffee mugs with the Wake Up Woodward logo on the desk? Because if you don't, you have to.
That's good.
That's a good point.
Neal, you're a very smart man for
That's why he's Mr. Elite.
Yep.
The president.
Salute, bro.
Salute.
I love it.
Coffee mugs.
Oh, I love it.
That's a good point.
That's a great point.
I need one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's funny is it's not even like a groundbreaking idea or anything, but I'm more mad at myself that I didn't think of it. But credit to you, Neal. Even if it is a layup, you're the one who had to have it pop in your head and verbalize it. So shout out.
No, absolutely, you got it. Robert Colosi, I'm so glad that commercial of Easy Sports' pathetic attempt at swinging a bat is still around. Me too.
Oh yeah, it's a good time. I got him with a nasty changeup. Not gonna lie.
He looked fooled, no doubt.
I destroyed that. I sent that punch key went flying.
Tammy Chin, I want a coffee mug. I'll put it right at my desk and advertise the show. So there is.
Shout out Tammy Chin. That's so nice. Yeah. That's so kind.
So
you guys can have coffee mugs, then we can make flasks for heavyweights.
Yes.
Now you're talking.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
And remember, too, since we're at it right now, if you're a bourbon company, send in the bourbon to me. I'll drink it on Friday.
Exactly.
And I'll just leave the bottle out there while I drink it. We've done that before. I got to get back to Bourbon Friday.
Bourbon Friday's a good time.
It is. I will. I'll get that back up and operational. I'll be out this Friday, though. We're on a road trip. First place, Oakland Golden Grizzlies, by the way.
Keto for the win said, ask Sam about D-Mac. Shout out Golden Grizzlies.
Yep.
Shout out Michigan State. Back in contention to win the Big Ten.
You're back, baby.
Right back in there.
No, you guys, you have that. You're a real program, unlike Michigan. Even though your season hasn't been exactly what you guys thought, there's plenty of time for you guys to turn it around, especially with a deep playoff.
If Malik Hall plays well, we win games.
That's true.
That's literally what it is.
That is 100% true.
All right. Lions discussion continues here. It is Super Bowl week. I'm not feeling it yet. I'll get there, I'm sure. I think. I hope. Spencer's in, but it's more about the drinking with him.
And the cocktail food.
Yeah, and that is right. Oh, top five Wednesday. Top 5 Super Bowl party foods.
Yeah, I already know my number one's pigs in a blanket. I love pigs in a blanket. Ooh.
Yeah, but that's not even a Super Bowl thing for you, is it? Like you
I don't have them very often. I have them on like our fantasy draft day and then the Super Bowl, and like that's it.
Do you dip them in anything?
Mustard.
Have to.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Have to. Stone ground mustard or
yellow mustard.
Yellow French's.
You can't get too fancy. It's
pigs in a blanket, for Christ's sake.
Exactly.
It's a hot dog and a biscuit.
Yeah,
like
it's good stuff. Though.
That's what it is. Mike G, top 5 old people. We did top 5 old people already. Last week was top 5 periodic elements. Shout out at Einsteinium, which is a real thing.
Einsteinium was a good Americanium.
Grommet 0237, Sloppy Joes. Those are a staple.
Sloppy Joes? I don't know if that's I don't know if I would consider that a Super Bowl food. I'm thinking like buffalo wings.
There's always somebody that seems to like when you have I'm talking about like a Super Bowl,
like meatballs,
like 20 people.
Meatballs, like the crock pot meatballs.
The Swedish meatballs.
Yeah,
those are true. The party sub.
Party sub's
a staple.
Yeah.
You got to get pizzas.
Buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah.
Buffalo chicken.
Mexicali dip.
Brendan Dillinger, top 5 drugs.
That's a good one too. I already know my top 3. I have to dig a little deeper after that, but the top 3 are locked.
Yes. Top 5 bourbons. Maybe we'll get there. Nicholas Duncan, top 5 side effects. Sweating.
Lasting more than 5 hours.
Hey.
Sweating. That seems to be my top 5. All right. You guys, quit your messing around, okay? Let's get serious. Mike G, number 1, cocaine. Yeah, of course. Right, Spenny?
Yeah.
Wait, is that your number 1?
Yeah. Well, probably shrooms, honestly. But yeah, that's top 3. That's top 3 for sure. Definitely top 3.
You gotta love it.
What about if you were
love shrooms,
at a
so
NASCAR event?
Oh,
Would
yeah.
that change
that'd be
it?
number one for sure. Yeah.
Shrooms?
Yeah. No, well,
Well, it's not really a
I
cocaine
don't know.
crowd.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to figure that out. Those are top 2 though.
Oh, this is funny. Top 5 feelings. I wonder what number 1 would be.
Yeah. Lust.
Real cream of wheat. Top 5 dictators.
Okay. All right.
Oh man, Donovan DeLong, make those ham and cheese sliders this year.
Yeah,
Spenny.
he sent me a recipe on Instagram.
Does that include so it's an Instagram?
It's the King's Hawaiian roll.
So that involves taking the King's Hawaiian roll out of the package whole and slicing it in half.
Yeah,
you have to.
Oh yeah,
like that's the way.
That's a.
Have you ever made one of those social media recipes?
Well, yeah, I made monkey bread one time. It was really good.
Yeah,
like the pull apart. It's good stuff.
I've never made one. Have you ever made one, Flannel?
No, I have not.
As the missus?
No.
Does she still have her cream of wheat T-shirt?
Yes, she does.
And me and my boy made these meatballs in East Lansing. They're like chicken meatballs stuffed with mozzarella cheese and
that's aggressive.
With tomato sauce on top, and then regular meatballs stuffed with cheddar cheese and barbecue sauce on top. They're really good.
Mike G says King's Hawaiian bread is like crack.
King's Hawaiian bread is. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where would caffeine go on the top drug list?
It's up there. It's up there.
If that counts, it's definitely up there.
Nicotine's not on my list anymore.
Good.
Yeah.
Rack. How about top 5 dipshits and why is Brandon Katz number 1? Come on, that's aggressive. That is aggressive. All right, I do want to talk Lions cornerback. Let's do this. Let's hit the break. Come back. Spenny asked a question, and I want to get granular with it a little bit because it's an idea that everybody loves, right? But I want the execution. You can say all you want, but when you say it to me, Flannel, you got to come with a solution.
Sure.
All right. Let's just do it that way. I have an insurance solution for you.
All right. Of course.
Well,
that is a Swiss Insurance. And do you have football on the brain? Of course you do. The new year ushers in a perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. Ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today at SwissINS.com or call 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
At Planet Fitness, you can get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this?
You don't know how to use it?
This is better.
Join now through January 19th for just 24 cents down, $10 a month. Never intimidating, always free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Join today during the Big Fitness Energy Sale for 24 cents down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal extended through January 19th.
Over 50 Metro Detroit locations.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Rest in peace to the same old Lions. And guess what else has found the grave? That old tired rock, paper, scissors game as well. Jack Labrador's revolutionized that game with 2 new symbols and a franchise-changing 3-point play. You can discover the action at jacklabrador.gg. You can scan the QR code on your screen. Big D Energy dominates the final word in Jack Labrador. You can dominate your family members as well. Remember when the sun came out yesterday? That was fun. You'll see it again in about a month and a half. So in the meantime, get the family a new card game. Man, Kool-Aid's got so many people in the family now. You know, he'll be firing up the Jack Labrador around the table.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's going to reign supreme at Jack Labrador and Kool-Aid's family? There's a lot of choices. Go to jacklabrador.gg right now. It's Jack Labrador. All right, we're keeping it pushing. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal Ruhl. And we have Sam Flannel in for D-Mac. Kool-Aid is here in the house. And, of course, Spencer Raxter. And, I wanted to get into this discussion, the Lions cornerback thing, because I think that's the overriding thing that everybody kind of pounds the table for and says, all right, we got to go get somebody. And Spencer asked the question, Flannel, on the show sheet, do you want to see them pursue a cornerback one in free agency? And Flannel, I'm here to tell you, like, that's okay. That's great. Who's going to say no? Obviously, nobody's going to say no. But who is it? Like, you give me the principle. I want the execution. Because where I am with it, Flannel, I don't know that CB1 exists. I don't know that they're out there for the taking, which is the nature of the position. The great ones aren't available.
Well, as of right now, I would say there are 4 players who I don't know if it's necessarily realistic, but you've got Jalen Johnson, who last season you could argue was the best corner in the NFL. He might re-sign with the Bears, and he's going to ask for a big contract. L'Jarius Sneed, those are the pipe dreams, Jalen Johnson and L'Jarius Sneed. Obviously, I would make a run at those two, but even when you really look at it, Stephon Gilmore, I think that's an option because he's obviously not what he once was, but he still had a damn good year for the Cowboys. I think he would step right in and be the best corner on the team, but one that I didn't really, I wouldn't say that I dismissed, but I kind of didn't, I dug a little bit deeper. What about Kendall Fuller? Kendall Fuller had a really good year last season for Washington, and he's somebody that I think the Lions could probably get a little cheaper, and to me, he would obviously step right in and be the number 1 corner on this team right away. I guess if you want to talk about another unknown, if Emmanuel Mosley can ever come back healthy, although it's tough to tear your ACL, play two plays, and then re-tear it. That's hard to come back from. But there's options out there, whether they're realistic or not. That's to be seen. Like I said, L'Jarius Sneed and Jalen Johnson are going to get big contracts, but I would say don't sleep on the Kendall Fuller or Stephon Gilmore possibility.
Mike G, WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Top 5 Michigan highways. I do like that one. That one is pretty good. Top 5 Michigan roads.
Yeah.
I'll have to put that one on the list as a matter of
Shout
fact.
out Van Dyke.
Andrew Klingerman. Mountain Road, stand up.
Yeah.
The newly repaved part of it.
It's so much better.
It's luxurious.
Yeah.
Andrew Klingerman, the most important thing is getting a top edge rusher opposite Hutch. If you aren't getting the QB, it doesn't matter who you have. I'd get a Kyle Fuller. So, maybe he meant Kendall Fuller.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, Spot Track, just so you know, Spot Track has Kendall Fuller's market value at around $14 million per year.
Yeah, and it has a Stephon Gilmore's has 11, I believe. So I don't know. I think that those two, like especially a Stephon Gilmore, and obviously market value doesn't necessarily mean that's what it's going to be, but the reality is, and I know that it didn't cost them a ton of wins this year, but the cornerback play, especially when the Lions started blitzing their safeties more and leaving them out on an island, it was not good. Cam Sutton, numerically by the numbers, did not have a good season. He had actually a pretty damn terrible year and was even worse in the playoffs. And then whoever was opposite him, whether it was Jerry Jacobs, whether it was Khalil Dorsey, whether it was Kendall Vildor, whether it was Will Harris, it's their weakest position by far. It was one of the worst units, period, I think, of any good team in the NFL. So whether it's the draft, whether it's taking a run at free agency, I think that they should try for something. And I think Stephon Gilmore and Kendall Fuller could end up being somewhat cost effective given the fact that they have some cap space. I know that they want to re-sign some of their own players, but I think it's worth at least pursuing.
L'Jarius Sneed, Spot Track market value, $16.3 million.
Yeah, and Jalen Johnson, I see, is 15.7. Honestly, if the Lions could get Jalen Johnson for $15.7 million a year, I don't necessarily hate that. That dude was to me last year he was the best corner in football.
Now remember, when they make these are algorithm numbers based. It doesn't take into account competition for services.
Oh, of course. And I don't think Jalen Johnson's going to get that kind of a contract. I'm just saying that there is something numerically put out there that I would say guesses your calculated market value. And I'm just saying that if that were possible for Jalen Johnson, I would do it personally because I think he's Johnson Island right now. I think he's that good. WoodwardSports.com chat, jump into there, get your thoughts out there. Brandon Katz says Sutton is a solid cornerback, number 2, and I don't disagree with that.
I agree
with that sentiment. I think he took some unfair bullets this year. I do believe that because like he was never here to the first week you have Puka Nacua. The next week in the playoffs you have Mike Evans. Then you got Deebo Samuel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that wasn't the design of the way it was supposed to work.
Well, and before that you had CeeDee Lamb and a
Justin Jefferson,
double dose
yeah.
of Justin Jefferson. And I've been one that has I would say shot a lot of the bullets at Cam Sutton for his play. But I will say this, he didn't have an easy job. And I think the reason that you can say that maybe Cam Sutton was a little bit over-slandered, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can say this, is that it didn't really cost them wins. Ever since they made that adjustment in the Broncos game, and Cam Sutton was giving up a bunch of yards. It wasn't just him, by the way. It was him, Kindle Vildor. But like they won all of those games.
But I'm glad you brought that up, too, because the nature of the changes that they made took your weakness and put even more of a light on it, because that's the nature of the beast. That was the decision they had to make.
Sure.
Aaron Glenn said, we have to get to the quarterback. We have to help out this portion of our defense, we have to get to the quarterback. Now, the flip side of that coin is when it doesn't work, they're even more exposed.
Yeah.
So it's going to look even uglier. But the bottom line is they won the games.
Yeah, they won the games. I mean, when you really look at it, so what that Justin Jefferson went off? So what that Mike Evans went off? So what that Puka Nacua went off? It was always one person can go off, one high-level wide receiver. The Lions are going to stop the run, and usually nobody else on the teams go off or really have big games. That was usually the formula, and it worked. And also they would get to the quarterback more often. They would create timely turnovers. In the case of the Los Angeles Rams games, force them to kick field goals in the red zone instead of score touchdowns. So, yeah, Cam Sutton's poor play at the end of year didn't really cost them wins. I thought it was kind of glaring when you looked at, I'll be honest, aesthetically, a lot of those stat lines of other wide receivers didn't look great, and Cam Sutton certainly didn't play well, but it's not all his fault. But I just remember at the beginning of the season, there was a lot of Cam Sutton love, and towards the end, it's kind of like he became almost like name recognition, to where at the beginning of the year he was playing okay, and then at the end of the year, people for a while, I think, were kind of scared to criticize him. But then when you look at poor performances back to back to back to back to back, which were not all his fault, it's just you have to give some criticism to him. Again, though, that it didn't cost them too many wins.
WoodwardSports.com chat thread, jump into there. And lots of talk. Alex Haggerty says, with any of these CB1s, though, you got to look at their grit. Are they Dan Campbell gritty? If they're not coming here. And that's something I think that we as a fan base need to do a better job of understanding, and a way better job of tolerating. Because the formula works.
Yeah.
You know how I know the formula works?
Yeah. Because they went from 3-13-1 to an NFC Championship game in 3 years. I understand that.
The formula works. You can't question it.
It does work, but I think the ceiling of this team is lesser if they don't upgrade the corner position in some way, shape, or form. I'm not saying I have all the answers.
Give me the method then. Like you speak in philosophical terms. What's the execution, Flannel?
I said make a run at Kendall Fuller or Stephon Gilmore, and obviously a rookie corner isn't somebody who's going to necessarily help your team right away unless if you're. I was going to mention Nate Wiggins. I think that. Old Cooper DeJean is somebody that the Lions should look at if he falls. I honestly think that if he weren't white, he would be looked at as a slightly lesser version of like Devon Witherspoon or somebody as a prospect. I'm not saying he's as good as them. I'm just saying that he's somebody that I think is profiled a little bit, although he's very good. I'm not saying those guys would step in and be cornerback one right away. Although on this team, I don't know, Cam Sutton wasn't very good last year. It wasn't all his fault, but he wasn't. They need someone. They need to address it in some way. And like I said, I think some of those free agents might be more realistic. I'm not even saying L'Jarius Sneed, but Stephon Gilmore or Kendall Fuller are both very viable options, at least as players. Whether or not Brad Holmes wants to pull the trigger or attempt to pull the trigger, that's on him.
The Nate Wiggins thing, Spenny. Love it. You turn me on to him. Like the tape is the tape. Give me him over that quarterback from Toledo all day long, just based on tape. In uneducated size. Tape. Yeah. Tape, size, all that stuff. Okay. But that philosophy, that's your plan of attack then, right? You go get him, you bring him in. Is that going to get you over the hump in an NFC Championship game on the road?
No, they got to spend money. They got to spend money, whether it be on an edge rusher or a cornerback. You got to go get one of those elite guys.
That's why I have you here, Spenny, because you're elite. That was an elite elite segment suggestion, and we're going to get to it coming up next. After here at Woodward Sports, we tell you about Planet Fitness, because you guys know what it is. We're live at the Planet Fitness studios. I was live at Planet Fitness about 2 hours ago, as a matter of fact. What's today, Spenny?
Arm day.
Arm day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
always, every other day's arm day for me, but that's the way that it operates. It was arm day too. 4 miles of cardio, boom, get the arms in, let's go. But you can do whatever you want at Planet Fitness. Tons of cardio equipment, tons of weight equipment, the 30-minute circuit, it's all there for you. 24 cents down, $10 a month. That gets you access to your home gym whenever you want it. You're a mover, you're a shaker, you're a baller, you're a shot caller. Get the black card, just $24.99 per month. You go to any Planet Fitness in the world. There's over 2,400 of them. There's over 50 of them in Metro Detroit alone. They are everywhere. I've achieved every fitness goal in my life through Planet Fitness. I'll never be a member at another gym. That's the best praise I can give it, everybody. Clean facilities, you can get your shower in, the tanning beds, whatever you want to do, the hydro massage, it's all there for you. Everything you need is at Planet Fitness. Go to planetfitness.com, join there, or pull in the parking lot of one of the Planet Fitnesses on your way home. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. There's 18 locations, so you know there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. And don't forget, we're always out there at Feldman Chevrolet in Novi. They are Michigan's #1 Chevrolet dealer. You guys know the people. We've had them on the show before. First-class people, first class at what they do as well. And that goes for any one of the 18 Feldman Automotive dealerships. It's Feldman Automotive. Keeping it pushing here. Hour number 2 on a Monday. Good pace to the show today. I like it. Neal Ruhl, Sam Flannel in for D-Mac. Kool-Aid in the house. Spencer Raxter. We got the heavy hitters here today, everybody. This is the A level right here. And Sam Flannel. So I have, now, who said that? Hey. Who said that? No, but we're talking Detroit Lions. I want the path. I want the granular path. Get a cornerback. Okay, who? For what? For how much? Get an edge, Neal. Okay, now we're to the edge portion of the discussion, because the cornerback market is pricey. The edge market is pricey. And look, this organization here, I spent the first hour, and that was by design, where we talk about it, playing the hits, describing why they're good, all of that. And that's by design, because they don't run this operation like a fantasy football team. This isn't back to the Washington Redskins when Daniel Snyder took over, and they just went and bought the 3 most expensive free agents and stood around wondering why it didn't work. There's a plan of attack for this organization and the way they work. And you can call it, grit or whatever you want to call it. But I want to know the if. And I know where Spenny's going with this one. As you give me your path with the edge, Sam Flannel, because Spenny brought it up. You've talked about it as well. The texters have talked about it as well. Give me the edge path.
So I'm looking at mock drafts right now of who might be available to the Detroit Lions. Just when it comes to drafts, I see that Braylon Trice from Washington is an option. Chris Braswell from Alabama. I'm seeing Chop Robinson. I don't know if those guys really move the needle. I think all of them could be good players.
You are fully prepared for the Chop Robinson movement, though, right?
Okay, but Chop Robinson's a good player, though. That's the thing.
I know, but people are going to be irrational about it because Chop Robinson has been on their television before.
Yeah, but Chop Robinson also played a major role in forcing the Michigan to completely abandon their pass game in the Penn State game because J.J. McCarthy was getting ambushed every time he was back there. So Chop Robinson, he does have some stuff on tape that proves that he's a very good player and a very good prospect. I mean, I'm even perusing the free agents. There's some really good ones, obviously.
I know where Spenny's going with it.
Some of the top names. I mean, I see Josh Allen, I see Brian Burns, I see Neal Hunter.
There's Spenny's guy.
I mean, shoot, I'd probably pay for quality when it comes to one of those top guys. Then you got Bryce Huff for the Jets. He's maybe I don't know, an under the radar one that wouldn't cost so much. Jonathan Grenard for Houston, who had a damn good year opposite Will Anderson.
Can I interest you in Charles Harris?
No. A fine Michigan man who didn't quite have the year that he had the year before. Josh Uche, he's had some success in this league, but yeah, there's some really good free agent edge rushers. Probably guys that are not all of them are realistic, but I gave you some draft picks. I gave you some free agent options, and also, is there any chance, because I've seen a lot of variance when it comes to this guy on mock drafts. I've seen him in the top 10, and I've seen him to where the Lions could maybe get him. What about Jared Verse? Is there any chance that he falls?
I don't think so. I think he's a top 10 pick.
Like I said, that's what I think in terms of talent. That's what I think he should be, but I've just seen a lot of variance. I mean, you know how it's going to go as we get closer to it.
I'll tell you what, a guy that slipped to me in the second round in the mock draft I did that I like is Jonah Ellis out of Utah. Like, that kid is pretty good. He's big. He had like 12 sacks last year in 10 games.
He would probably fit that mold because you don't want Utah problems. But that's the maxim on this show.
He is a Dan Campbell guy. He's got a great speed rush, which I think has shown to work well opposite Aiden Hutchinson when you get a speed rusher out there. He's got a nice Euro step, a pretty deep bag of tricks at that pass rushing position. So if you don't go in free agency, I like him possibly in the second round. I think you could get him.
Steve Wilds in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread, going back to the cornerback thing. Gilmore is 34, so no. But the rub with that though, Steve, is it's a shorter term contract then.
Yeah.
So you have to weigh that. That's the upside to it. And he played well last year.
He most certainly did. And if I may hijack a little bit when it comes to the corner discussion, do you know who in this mock draft that I'm looking at right now? It's a PFF one. Obviously, it's not the gospel or anything, but it has Kool-Aid McKinstry falling to where the Lions could get him. I'm just saying that at one point he was looked at as the best cornerback prospect, like pretty much universally in this upcoming draft, and now he's falling. I'm just saying, if it's possible, that could be a potential interesting one.
Make it happen. I'm all for that one.
Hey,
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Why is he slipping? Why is he dropping?
That I don't know, man. And when we did this topic last week, when we kind of looked at the draft and everything, and it had the Packers being able to get him at 25, I was like, if he gets that close to the Detroit Lions, I think you have to find some way to get Kool-Aid McKinstry, especially before the Packers do. Their defensive backfield is packed, but I don't know, man. I don't know the real reason why he's dropping.
I know we got Alabama fans in the house in the chat. Drop that in there because I want to know the flip side of the Kool-Aid McKinstry thing, because that's the way I operate. I like to shoot from the dark side sometimes.
What's funny is Kool-Aid McKinstry in this mock draft is falling, but his Terrion Arnold is really I would say leapfrogging a lot. He's projected in this mock draft as a top 15 pick, and at one point it was Kool-Aid was a first rounder and Terrion Arnold was maybe top of the second round. So, but if Kool-Aid McKinstry is available to the Lions, you can't tell me that it doesn't at least make you gasp a little bit and be like, holy shit, this was like maybe the best corner in the nation last year. This was at one point for a lot of the year regarded as the best cornerback prospect, and maybe he's the guy that can be NFL ready right away. I'm not saying you have to ask the questions of why he's falling and whatnot, but he certainly has the talent.
Who was the guy out of Georgia last year that was similar? He fell. He's supposed to be the best.
Keely Ringo.
Yeah, Keely Ringo. Supposed to be the best prospect. was the best corner prospect for the beginning of the year and then kind of fell down the draft. I think it's a similar thing where you look at Alabama's defense and they got 2 good edge rushers. They got a good cornerback opposite of him.
Are you a product of the system?
Yeah, I think that's what it is with Kool-Aid. I fell in love with Nate Wiggins. Like I think that's my guy. If you get a cornerback, I want him. I would move up to get him. Move up inside the top 20 if you have to get him because I think he's going to be really good.
Because Ringo, didn't he get drafted by Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was the last time we heard his name, wasn't it? So, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a hater.
Well, I mean, if you played in the Philadelphia Eagles secondary last year, you
probably went to Georgia.
You probably went to Georgia. Or
probably weren't that good.
You probably weren't that good,
And you were probably home. You lasted in the playoffs for 60 minutes.
James Bradbury got cooked.
Oh, he was horrible this year. One of the most disappointing players in all of the NFL. He was burnt toast.
That's crazy how that happens with cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Cornerbacks are the shelf life of a good cornerback in the NFL is.
Once it's over, and you just wake up one day and it's over.
Yeah.
It's really wild. Daniil Hunter, spot track valuation, $20 million per. Bring him home.
Bring him home.
Josh Allen, $24 million.
Yeah. He's really good though. Like, I think they got to bring in somebody. If it's not a corner, it should be an edge rusher. Big contract. Bring in a splash player.
I'm just
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen would be nice.
The more we get to this, though, the more I'm thinking they're going to roll how they roll.
Yeah.
And
we'll see though. I mean, I just think they know. Like they got the taste, and now they know. Like, okay, we're there.
GW the Kid, Kool-Aid McKinstry, same system as Branch. Played with Branch. Look what Branch did for us. The Alabama tree does seem to be pretty good.
Alabama tree is nice for us, for sure.
Yeah,
That's why I want their kicker. Honestly, Alabama kicker, he's banging like 55-yarders all year. Like, I'd take him for sure.
The real K. Collins 77, and this is a great point. This was something I was going to get to, certainly as we move through the shows towards the draft. Holmes loves to move up in the draft. Wouldn't be surprised if he moves up in the top 15 or top 10 to get his defensive stud, and he's got the capital to do it.
Yes, he does.
Four of the first 96 picks, I want to say.
Jared Verse is all of a sudden in play. I don't hate it. I think he's probably the best edge rusher in this draft.
For sure.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Do you guys watch more of the Combine then or less of the Combine?
More.
Yeah, more.
Are you rooting for your guys to not do well? Like,
yes.
Nate Wiggins, you want him to do you want it to be like, 4.45 540, he was supposed to be 4.38?
Yeah, that would be cool with me.
So you want to see him struggle?
A little bit. Not completely struggle, but yeah.
Kind of like the narrative that was attached to like Brian Branch.
Yeah. And I'd rather see like Mitchell go crazy because he's been shooting up boards already too, and I don't really want him.
Yeah.
Because like
I watch the Toledo kid, right? Quinion Mitchell.
Yeah, it's very Okuda-y when I watch his tape.
Oh yeah, it is.
Really aggressive at the top of routes, very handsy, and that stuff doesn't fly in the NFL.
No, dude. I'm sitting there. I watch 40 seconds of the film with you. I'm like, that's a penalty in the league.
Yeah.
That's a penalty in the league. That's a penalty in the league. And you get away with that in the MAC against Rocky Lombardi. Yeah. Way too many highlights against Rocky Lombardi for my liking.
That's Flannel by Rocky Lombardi.
Yeah, and Ricky White.
Hell yeah.
Way too many highlights against Rocky Lombardi for my liking.
Shout out Ricky White. Had a damn good year at UNLV.
Shout out Ricky White.
Actually, oh God, that was a darker day for me than you'd think. I know it was 2020, but Michigan was favored by what, 20-something?
Oh, yeah.
They were the much more that was a bad
Rocky
day.
Lombardi, Spartan legend.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. I remember those days.
It's a great day.
Rocky Lombardi.
It was a great day. I remember when he came on campus.
Went back in 2012 or whatever it was, because he played for Northern Illinois last year still.
2018, I think. That was my...
He played last year.
That was my last year at State.
And he's still in college.
Mm-hmm. It's a good time.
And he's not a doctor.
He's not a doctor.
They're called doctors.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is he playing again next year, or is he finally done?
He might play again next year.
No way.
I wouldn't be surprised. With the COVID year and the transfer rules, and he was redshirted a year, like...
Could he transfer again, be a graduate senior?
Probably, yeah.
God.
So somebody in the chat, please, let me know. Can Rocky Lombardi play again next year?
No, when I saw that Taulia Tagovailoa was applying for another year, I'm like, well, this is out of control. He didn't get it, but... Yeah, that's... He's the one that I think of as somebody who's been in college for what seems like 15 years.
For sure.
Forever.
It's like Connor Shaw. And Connor Shaw did it before...
Yeah.
Transfer portal was
before it was cool.
Yeah, I swear Connor Shaw played for South Carolina for like 10 years.
Hoof-hearted, ask Dr. Clappencheeks. That's
He is a doctor.
He is a doctor.
A learned doctor.
Yeah, I bet he wasn't in school as long as Rocky Lombardi.
Probably not.
Probably not, actually.
His years were more impactful.
Hey, Rocky Lombardi's the man.
So was Dr. Clappin.
I got drunk with him at Lujas one time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay. Chuck, nothing we'll learn watching the Combine will help us fans have a clue if they will be good pros or not. It's a waste of time for fans to watch, in my opinion. Yeah, but it makes you feel good, Chuck.
Yeah.
That's the point of it. That's the point of it. But yeah, lots of talk. The edge, free agent edge. What's the move? What's the move?
Well, if you can't get one of the top guys, I actually did a little deep diving on Spot Track myself. Bryce Huff's average annual calculated market value, $9.2 million. He had a damn good year with the Jets last year, and we're not asking him to be edge rusher one. I just think somebody like him would be certainly more than enough as a bookend edge rusher for Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, we obviously James Houston, hopefully him playing a full year, that might help things out a little bit. But James Houston it's always understood that he's not an every down guy. He's a pass rush specialist. So to get somebody more consistent like Bryce Huff for cheap, and that is if you don't want to pay the big bucks for like a Danielle Hunter or Josh Allen, that is my final. If I were to give my final answer, that's what it would be.
If you want your cheap option for me,
yeah.
Squeeze a year out of Jadeveon Clowney. People forget he's not even 32 yet.
Yeah, I'm a Clowney simp for sure.
Yeah.
He had a damn good year with the Ravens. Maybe the best year of his career. And as I've always said, a lot of people clown on Jadeveon Clowney because he was one of the best college prospects ever and one of the best NFL prospects. Maybe not ever, but he certainly was the best prospect of his year. And he hasn't quite lived up to the hype. But everywhere he's gone, pretty much, he's been impactful. Even if he's never been like a 15-sack guy. He was good on the Texans. He was good when he went to the Browns. He was good on the Baltimore Ravens. He's a good player. He's a perennial, like a multiple-time Pro Bowler. Shout out Jadeveon Clowney. I would be cool with that as well.
He gets you a sack about every 2 games, every 2.5 games. But you can set your watch to it.
As a bookend edge rusher, of course you'd take that. Obviously, if you can
and he would help Hutch, and Hutch would help him.
Absolutely.
And you throw him in the mix with James Houston.
Yeah.
And it's a discount to market. I think. He's not even 32 yet.
I don't hate it. I guess the question with Jadeveon Clowney, and I hate to be this person, is there any notion that he's not a Dan Campbell guy?
Right, yeah, and that's fair.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fair. But yeah, so Spenmo will be watching. Spenmo's going to be watching the Combine, hoping his guys don't do well. I love it, man. I love it.
Honestly.
But I know if you have a pet, I know where you can do very well.
You can do very well in one place, and one place only, and that is Premier Pet Supply. Because Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. The same prices in all of the conveniences, the big box and retail chains, with one major difference: family and locally owned and operated for 30 plus years. Over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. Same day, curbside, home delivery. Make sure you check out Premier Pet Supply at www.premierpetsupply.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. The same great service that customers have come to know and trust on Woodward Avenue just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today. Find the brand you want at lesstanford.com.
Keeping it pushing here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal, Ruhl, and Sam Flannel, and Kool-Aid, and Spencer Raxter as well. Jan, afternoon all, smash the like button. Thank you. That's a good plan, Jan. I like that plan. Kalamazoo, J.J. McCarthy will be a top 5 pick. Remember that bit.
Oh, yeah. That's all right. I think he'll still go in the first round eventually, just with the need for
Number 1
quarterbacks.
overall?
No.
I was told that by somebody at this network.
Yeah, by somebody who sits in the seat from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. That was not the best take, but it wouldn't shock me if J.J. McCarthy is wildly successful in the NFL. But he's not going to be the number 1 overall pick. No chance.
Also, too, did want to send a shout-out to, sad I didn't bring this up earlier, rest in peace to Earl Cureton, the Detroit Pistons team ambassador. And really, I'm telling you guys this, for anybody that's ever met the man, and Kool-Aid, I know you met him, you've interviewed him before, they don't make people like Earl Cureton. I mean, just the nicest dude ever. I've done a couple of events with him. We've emceed some press conferences and all that stuff. And I'm telling you what, man, if you have a friend in your life that's as good of a person as Earl Cureton, you're doing all right in your life. Really a stunner, too. Did the Pistons game on the radio broadcast Friday night, did the Detroit Mercy game Saturday, and collapsed in his home Sunday morning and passed away. So, shout out to Earl Cureton and Kool-Aid. I know that you knew him too. I'm sure, you'll echo my sentiments. That dude was a grade A1 person.
Definitely, man. And we gave him a little bit of time to talk about the type of person he was at the end of Wake Up Woodward today.
Yeah.
And I've been covering the Pistons now for 3 seasons, 2 of those seasons on the beat in the arena. And he's been a figure that has been at almost and involved with almost every one of my games that I've covered, man. Every single home game. Just giving me tips, talking to me. And a lot of the times, though, he would like to take it more personal. And over the years, we just got closer and closer and closer. And it's amazing because the first set of events that the Pistons began to invite me to the cover were all charitable events. He was the guy on the scene at every single one of them. And it wasn't just to be there.
No, it mattered to him.
You could tell it was a passion that mattered to him, especially the St. Cecilia's one. It wasn't just the gym that they're talking about restoring, but that entire block. And just hearing him talk about how much he wanted to do and how much he was doing for the city of Detroit, I think that made him such a great man. And then another thing I liked is I saw all of these people who I know are a little bit younger, probably didn't see him play, but they were talking about the impact he made in their lives as well. It just goes to show you, beyond the NBA, beyond even University of Detroit Mercy, beyond even his NBA career that a lot of people didn't know, he was still finding ways to be impactful in people's lives. And that, to me, was a testament of the man that he was.
No doubt about that. Yesterday I had the game on the TV at the house. I had a rare day off yesterday, and it popped up on the screen, and I gasped and did a double take and was talking to my wife. I was like, I just talked to Earl like 4 days ago, So It was a stunner, and it sucks. And it's sad to see a good person go, for sure. So rest in peace to Earl. And Earl Cureton, man, very, very, very good guy. I even look past the part that he was a Detroit Mercy Titan. We talked about that. So as an Oakland guy, we were able to move past that. So no, but rest in peace, Earl. A good one is gone. Carl Weathers passed away. A tough weekend, man. Mm-hmm. Carl Weathers passed away. Also. So that was sad. That was sad to see. Detroit Devil 313, RRP, Earl, Titans legend, Pistons great as well. Yeah, there was a reason, too. Like, I saw somebody say, one of the new fashion, people like Sam Flannel, went and looked at his stats and said, he wasn't like this, this hugely impactful guy. There was a reason when you were a good team, you wanted Earl Cureton on your team. There's a reason.
Sure.
You don't understand that kind of stuff, Flannel.
No, but if you guys want to go back to Wake Up Woodward and listen to the last 5 or so minutes of the show, Kool-Aid, in a way, eulogized him beautifully.
Good.
Talk about your experience with him. It's worth your time. It's worth your time for sure.
Robert Closio, former San Diego State Aztec. Yes, he was. Carl Weathers. Yes, Carl Weathers was. Short time Oakland Raider as well, Carl Weathers.
Oh, yeah.
So there's that. But, Flannel, I did want to ask you this, and we're not going to spend a ton of time on it because I don't think there's a ton of legs to it. But bottom line, Michigan lost again to Rutgers in a game they had to lead in the second half. And I've told you guys, full disclosure, I have friends on the Michigan basketball program, and I want my friends to do well. But right now, it is not going very well.
No, they're the worst Power 5 team in college basketball. They did something that I thought they would even avoid. It's Rutgers. Rutgers going into the game and now definitely is the second worst team in the Big Ten, and Michigan is first. And they had a 9-point halftime lead and a 15-point lead at some points in the second half. And oh, by the way, Rutgers only shot 15% from 3 in that game. You put all of that together, and then Michigan ends up losing by 10. Rutgers finishes the game on a 37-12 run, punctuated by an 18-2 run. It's just... But that's the thing with Michigan. This year, even last year, it's holding leads, it's late game execution. And after that, I didn't watch the game, but I was just kind of checking on Game Tracker throughout, and I was kind of laughing at times, being like, are they actually going to blow this one? But they did. They really outdid themselves. And it's been a trend this year. Michigan has lost 8 out of their last 9 games. In 6 of them, they had a halftime lead, including double-digit leads at Maryland and at Penn State, and a 9-point lead against Rutgers. They lost earlier in the season to Long Beach State, a game in which they had a halftime lead. They lost earlier in the season to an Indiana team that has a losing conference record with a halftime lead. They lost a game in 2 games in overtime to Florida and Oregon, and that's where, to me, that's where it comes down to coaching. I'm not saying this Michigan team is wildly talented. In fact, it's not. It's probably the least talented team they've had since the early years of Beeline. But they've had leads. They've been there in lots of games. And you know this as well as I do. The Big Ten does not have the best talent. There's not a bunch of draft prospects littered around the Big Ten. No. So Michigan has, I wouldn't say as much as anybody, but enough to compete in that conference or at least be middle of the pack. But late game execution, weird rotations, the fact that Trey Jackson is getting any playing time over Will Shetter is a crime. A guy like a transfer like Namari Burnett, who sucked at Alabama and sucks at Michigan to the shock of no one. And the late game execution, the rotations, the sets, that's coaching. Inability to finish these games and hold leads. That, to me, is the biggest indictment on Juwan Howard, and I think he should have been fired before the season even started because it was a problem last year. Because as we all know, they missed the tournament last year. There were 8 Big Ten teams that made it, but none of those other teams that made it had 2 top 15 picks plus Hunter Dickinson. That's a crime against humanity. They underachieved.
I didn't even think about it that way.
That's unbelievable.
But you're right.
They underachieved on almost a biblical level last year, but this year when they didn't have as much talent, they completely bottomed out. They completely flamed out, and now they are 7-15 and 2-9 in conference. So yes, and what I've always said is that Michigan, they're not a blue blood by any means, but there is a standard to Michigan basketball that needs to be upheld. There was a time between 2012 and 2021, a decade stretch, the prime years of Beeline and even the first couple of years of Juwan, where they were NCAA runners up twice. They made 4 Elite Eights. They made 6 Sweet 16s. They had 9 players drafted in the first round of the NBA during that stretch. That's more than Michigan State had. That's more than Kansas had. That's more than Villanova had. That's more than UConn had. And overall, they won a national championship in 1989. They've had a ton of players over the years, like Glenn Rice and Cazzie Russell. And you look at the Fab Five teams who were themselves runners-up twice. Juwan Howard, Chris Webber, and Jalen Rose.
Man.
There is a standard to this team that should be upheld. This is a team that should be making deep tournament runs every single year. But with Juwan these last couple of years, it's been a complete disaster. He should be fired. He should have never been allowed to coach this season. He should be fired immediately. I think I would do a better job on the sidelines against Wisconsin than Juwan Howard did. And oh, by the way, let's make sure he doesn't hit that Wisconsin assistant again while he's there. I hate that guy. I hate Juwan Howard.
Wow. That's strong language.
Yes.
Damn. All right. Okay.
You know, Flannel.
All right. You know how I operate, Flannel.
Yes.
Then what's the move?
I don't care. Like, Juwan Howard is at the point where anybody but Juwan. That's how low the program has sunk at this point. It's impossible to be 7-15 as a Power 5 team in college basketball. They're not 7-15 in conference. They're 7-15 overall. And Brandon Katz, he mentions in the chat, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. He's talking about that there is no standard at Michigan basketball. And I think some fans are asleep right now because obviously what Michigan just did in college and won the national championship in football. My point is more that there should be a standard because Michigan has actually, when you look at the totality of their program, been a winning program. Did you know that they've had more Final Fours in their history than Syracuse? They've had more Final Fours than Arizona. They've had the exact same Final Fours as Indiana. It's surprising when you think about it, but that's where I just have to let it known that there should be a standard at Michigan basketball that should be upheld, and you shouldn't be allowed to underachieve the way that they did in 2023 and then completely flame out and be the worst Power 5 team in 2024. That should not be allowed.
Chris says the worst part isn't the wins and losses, it's the negative energy surrounding the program. Yes. With over 4 minutes left in a close game, fans began leaving Chrysler. The program is dead. And man, like, I knew things weren't going well, but obviously, you know, I'm wrapped up in college basketball and we're doing our season, so I haven't been tapped in as much as some of the other people. But it's incredible, man.
Yeah.
It's incredible that it's fallen this far.
Well, and that's the thing. I think it was a little over 4 minutes left in the game. Rutgers had taken the lead and were up by 2. And we all just knew. Everybody who was at that game or watched that game, which I didn't watch, I was just game tracking. When I saw that, I'm like, it's over. You almost know at that point that they're going to death spiral and end up losing by 10. What they did yesterday was impossible. Rutgers blows.
Rutgers sucks.
Rutgers has less talent than Michigan, and Michigan's not even that talented. Rutgers is terrible. Michigan had them at home, and they had a 15-point second-half lead. And I'm not saying that winning that game would make that big of a difference, but that's just embarrassing. At that point, you're just a clown show. That's why when you say, what's Michigan's move? I don't care. Juwan Howard has reached that status where I would rather have noted Michigan State alum Spencer Raxter coaching the team, even though he would deliberately sabotage them. That's not any different than what Juwan Howard's doing, even if he's not doing it on purpose.
It's fair.
He's passionate, folks.
He is
passionate about it. I certainly will give you that for sure. Hey, Jack Labrador, everybody. I've been telling you guys about it for a while. A lot of you certainly over the holidays were picking up the game as well. Hey, it's a new spin on that old rock, paper, scissors game. 2 new symbols, a franchise-changing 3-point play. The sun's never going to come out again, everybody. So you're looking for some card games, new way to entertain yourself and the family, jacklabrador.gg. Scan the QR code on your screen. It's the new card game that's revolutionizing the way card games are played. Go to jacklabrador.gg today.
At Planet Fitness, you can get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this?
You don't know how to use it?
This is better.
Join now through January 19th for just 24 cents down, $10 a month. Never intimidating, always free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Join today during the Big Fitness Energy Sale for 24 cents down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal extended through January 19th.
Over 50 Metro Detroit locations.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
Want the very best in Detroit sports wearables? A new era has begun. WoodwardSports.com/shop. Get the Stoke Not Scared t-shirt. Get the Sun God t-shirt. Spencer Raxter, Meat Missile, Jack Campbell inspired shirt as well. Beanie season, hoodie season. It's cold outside. Get something over your ears like a Woodward Sports beanie as well. Rep the brand, everybody. Go to WoodwardSports.com/shop. Coming on the stretch here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, Neal Ruhl and Sam Flannel. New Dad Kool-Aid in the New Dad again. I guess we should qualify that. New Dad again.
What up, Dopey?
Yeah. Spencer Raxter as well. All of you in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread, jump into there. Lots of talk about people want Phil Martelli to be the coach. Here's the problem. And again, I have friends there. I don't want to see bad things happen to my friends. I want my friends to do well. But the problem is, in this business, it doesn't work like that, everybody. It doesn't. You don't just take away the head coach and keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying?
I understand, but can you blame me for at least saying, you know what, Phil Martelli, noted successful coach of St. Joe's, and he's been Juwan Howard's right-hand man and has even done a good job when he's had to fill in. Give it a go. I mean, I'm at that point where I just, who do they hire? Who do they bring up, whether it's realistic or not? I don't care. I'd rather have a ghost coaching the team at this point. Let Doug McDaniel be player coach at this point for all I care.
Well, he can only play half the game.
Yeah, well,
That's fair.
He could coach the home games.
He can coach the home games.
And then have
what the hell is with that?
That's an interesting
That's
one.
the dumbest punishment I've ever heard in my entire life.
Well, and I mean, even when you talk about Michigan basketball, there's a myriad of problems. Some of them aren't even necessarily Juwan Howard's fault. The Doug McDaniel thing, the fact that admissions cost them getting Terrence Shannon and Caleb Love, which maybe I know Terrence Shannon has his own problems right now, but he's been the best player on two good Illinois teams, and Caleb Love is playing the best basketball of his life for Arizona. And maybe if they have those two guys, Hunter Dickinson sticks around. I'm just saying that Juwan Howard's bad. He sucks. He should be doing more with what he's had these last couple of years. But Michigan could have had one of the most talented rosters in the Big Ten. That's how much even a Terrence Shannon and a Caleb Love can do for you in this conference with this talent level.
All right, did want to touch on this too, and we got to get comfortable, guys, with it because, A, they deserve your attention as well. But the Detroit Red Wings, by the way, Alex DeBrincat.
He got hosed.
I know, but they have that unwritten rule where the MVP of the All-Star game can only be somebody that plays in the city that the All-Star game is in.
Yeah, that's still stupid.
It is dumb. DeBrincat was a beast, bro.
Yeah, he had, 3 goals, 2 assists? 3 goals, 3 assists, I think.
Alex DeBrincat, man.
It's trash. Fucking Matthews.
Chikrin, bring him home.
Chikrin, bring him home. That'd be nice.
Let's complete this. Let's complete the pillage of the Ottawa organization.
I'm down.
Let's do it.
Did you see the Michael Bublé thing when he's talking about doing shrooms?
No, I did not.
Yeah, he was like getting on the press row for the All-Star game and was like, yeah, my friend gave me some mushrooms and told me it was a microdose. He's like, it was not a microdose. He's like, I was out there, I thought I was in Blades of Glory until it started coming down. And I was like, oh, I'm at the NHL All-Star game.
Yeah. Red Wings back in action on Saturday. Home game against Vancouver. Then they go on a West Coast swing at Edmonton, at Vancouver, at Calgary, at Seattle. And look, the way they're sitting in the standings right now, they do have a playoff spot occupied. They do have a bit of breathing room. But Flannel, we're going to know right away. Right away, because it's getting to that point where last year we saw it, where the Red Wings were in the mix until they weren't, and this is a huge road. Look, I get it. I'm media. Like, this is what I do. I sell things, but I'm not bullshitting you guys here, man. This is the biggest stretch of games of the season, and this will tell me if they are for real a playoff team or for real not a playoff team. This stretch.
Well, this is an important stretch, and as of right now, it's the most important stretch. But to the Red Wings' credit, on New Year's Eve, they were 17-16-4 and looked like they were floundering. And the stretch that they just had, where they were 9-2-2, that really showed me a lot, and it showed me that this is going to be a playoff team. I mean, those games weren't easy either. I mean, they swept California, although Anaheim and San Jose aren't good, but still, it's tough to do on the West Coast. They beat Tampa Bay, they beat Florida on the road, they beat Vegas. I mean, they've had experience winning these games and playing good hockey when they've needed to. And also, one thing about this team this year, which credit to Steve Yzerman for this, they've pretty much fixed whatever offensive woes they ever had.
They went and got Alex DeBrincat.
They went and got Alex DeBrincat. They went and got Patrick Kane in mid-season. And even guys like Sprong and Comfer and Gotespear are all having some of the best seasons of their career and are major contributors. So this offense, I think, is for real. And oh, by the way, Dylan Larkin is having more than a point per game. So I think that this team is real. I think that they're going to finish this season and make the playoffs. Alex Lyon certainly seems like the solution for now at the goaltender position. He's having a damn good year. So, yeah, I expect them to withstand whatever I know going on a road trip to Canada isn't necessarily easy, but I expect him to get, I don't know, a win, maybe a point in another game, and then keep it pushing. It would obviously be great if they started off the second half of the season with a home win against Vancouver, but I'm confident that this is a playoff team. I know that defensively they've got some woes. They actually haven't improved that much as opposed to last year, but this is a team that can score goals, which is something we were looking for a very, very long time. And, oh, by the way, Alex DeBrincat is actually due for more of a hot streak. He's on pace for less than 40 goals. I'm not saying he's been bad, but he could pick it up a little bit. And imagine if he does that.
No, absolutely. He's certainly not on the pace he was to start the season. Nobody can keep that pace up that he was on. But Dan Wood, thanks again, Neal, for getting Alex DeBrincat. You're welcome. I think tonight I'm going to sit and think about it. I may put the wheels in motion to bring Chychrun home. I think I'm going to start putting the wheels in motion, Spenny. I'm looking at the contract. It lines up nicely. It's kind of in a similar slot to DeBrincat.
Bring him home. And, think of that top 4 defenseman. That would make your defense pretty damn good if you look at it with, Mo, Wallman, Ghost, and him. And then next year, when you bring up Edmondson, you have another guy in there. So I'm here for it. More help on the blue line. I'm definitely here for it.
I mean, throughout his recent history, he's been in the neighborhood of a point-a-game guy as a defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
It's sexy, man.
It's nice.
It's going to cost you. But I think this trade deadline, and look, Stevie Y's been on record before and said, he's not going to make a deal just to make a deal, which I never advocate that. I know in our fantasyization world that we live in now, where we love the transaction more than the actual action, I know we die on the hill for that. I'll always vibe with Yzerman. I know Catspots talk about he should be fired if they don't make the playoffs and stuff like that, which I think is way over the top because you can see the progression. You can see the home run was hit, this last trade year, too, with DeBrincat. It was. Sorry, Catspot. It is. He's changed the face of this club offensively. You can't argue it. Look what he's done for Larkin. You can't argue it. It's factual. So I'm not pounding the table, say you have to go make a move. But the Chychrun thing.
You should.
Now, Chychrun's a good one because, like I said, their defense, when you look at the numbers, they're not even that much better than they were last year. They've had some woes. The difference is that this season they can score goals at an elite level. I believe they're top 5 in the NHL. So shout out to them. And another guy that I think has benefited from having an Alex DeBrincat, Lucas Raymond is having the best season of his career.
Yes, he is.
He's becoming he was always a good player, but this is maybe the realization of what he was expected to be. Lucas Raymond's been balling, and Dylan Larkin, I'm not saying that he necessarily is one, but the season he's having, that's those are some 1C kind of numbers and some 1C kind of impact. Is he a 1C on a Stanley Cup winning team? Maybe not necessarily, but on a good team, on a playoff team, absolutely.
Kalamazoo, I go to Spenny for this one before we cut to the break. It's going to cost you Simon Edmondson to get a top 4 defenseman.
No, it's not. Ottawa wants burgers. You can give them burgers and another prospect, and you'll get it done.
And you'll have to throw some draft capital at them.
Yeah, for sure.
You certainly will have to do that.
You can give them Boston's pick, give them burgers, give them another guy, and you'll be good. You will not have to give up Edmondson, and Yzerman won't give up Edmondson.
So there's that too. Absolutely.
We tell you about Lady Jane's. Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut where I get my A-plus haircuts from the A-plus stylists. Register to win a trip of your dreams and all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. That's right. No expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports. Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Final segment of the show. Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal, Ruhl, and Sam Flannel in for D-Mac. D-Mac will be back tomorrow. We got Kool-Aid in the house. We got Spencer Raxter here in the house as well. Coming down the stretch here of the end. Cat Spot. All right, look, Cat Spot. Eisman's been with the Wings 5 years. Yes, Cat Spot, he was. And we've been through this many, many times before. The same thing with the Brad Holmes thing. He wasn't even walking into an expansion team. We went through the deals that were on the books, man. Come on, stop being stupid. You're being stupid when you say that, Cat Spot. They're still paying Justin Abdelkader.
Shout out.
Spartan Dog for Spenny wants him to get his money, and he will. Through 2026, he's getting $1 million. That's ignorant, Cat Spot. Ignorant.
And it takes hockey prospects a little more time to develop than it does football players.
And he's done the deal. He revamped your offense in one move. One move. He changed the trajectory of Larkin's career. He's changed the entire face of this team offensively. I'm sorry, man. I'm comfortable with letting him cook. I'm sorry. Got you a top 10 defenseman in the league and got him from Germany of all places? Like, come on, bro. Come on. Lucas Raymond looks like he's all right, does he not?
Pretty damn good.
Yes.
30-goal guy?
Yeah, looks like a top 6 guy.
He's done that once already.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, come on, dude. You tell me what you think. I'll tell you what we know. All right? So, but hey, thanks for tapping
Listen
in.
to this fucking idiot. Neal is stupid. The Red Wings wouldn't even be close to a playoff team if DeBrincat didn't force his way to the team. Steve Yzerman traded for DeBrincat. You are a literal idiot.
A literal one, huh?
Like, literally. You're not a lawyer. You're just stupid.
Yeah, you're right. Sider's the only good one. Lucas Raymond's not good. 30-goal season.
No, yeah.
30-goal season in the books.
Not good.
Not good. You're right. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. But yeah. People talking about the bongs that are made in Germany. I can't comment on that. All of mine have been American-made in back in those times in the past. Yeah. Got anything else?
Well, if you're going to the Michigan-Wisconsin game on Wednesday, you should just chant "Fire Juwan Howard." Don't even cheer for the team because obviously they're going to get killed. That's what you should do. Let's get some public pressure. Like I said, I'm fully aware that a lot of you, and myself included, are still on a high from a football national championship. I get it. It's been less than a month, and I'm still feeling really good. And maybe it doesn't personally bother you what Michigan basketball is doing. Just remember that this is a team that should have standards. That's all.
They could win that Wisconsin game.
You think so?
Yes, Wisconsin is as fraudulent as it gets. They were in first place until the Purdue game. Then they play Purdue, and they go full Wisconsin and go 3 for 19 from behind the three-point line. It's a very winnable game for Michigan. I'm curious to see if that line is more than 5. We may have to put it in stone.
Well,
if you know what I mean.
If Wisconsin wins by less than 5, it'll probably be in a game in which Michigan had a 10-point lead late in the second half or went scoreless for a 3 or 4 minute period. I get what you're saying. I'm never big on Wisconsin, no matter what. The only team that was for real was that Frank Kaminsky team that made the national championship game and lost to Duke. But this Michigan team, I don't think people even realize how bad it is. And I personally think that they're not even that much less talented than Wisconsin. There's just no execution, and there's no depth. Obviously.
I hope they tie. There's nobody more. I hate Wisconsin basketball more than I hate Michigan basketball.
They're my Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, I hate Wisconsin basketball. They're so annoying. Always.
It's such a tough watch, dude.
Yes.
Such a tough watch. God, God, I'm with you guys.
I would infinitely rather watch Iowa basketball than Wisconsin basketball. I'd rather watch
Iowa basketball is fun.
Watch Iowa's women's basketball.
Oh, that's for
Wisconsin
sure.
basketball.
I'd rather watch those old Northwestern teams with like Tim Boyle or whatever his name was.
Iowa basketball, like they get up and down the floor, they score points. The only thing that I don't like about Iowa basketball, how long the nets are in their arena. Those nets are so long, dude. It's grim. All right, we've done enough damage here today. We'll be back at it tomorrow. D-Mac will be back, and we will get it rocking. Make sure you check out Wake Up Woodward, 8 to 10 a.m. every morning. Get it in there with my guys there. Don't forget, to the heavyweights tonight.
Shout out.
5 to 7 p.m. You guys know what they're doing as well. We got it all for you here at the Woodward Sports Network. Thanks for tapping into Big D Energy. Well, see you later.